My dearest brothers and sisters, this is Hakann speaking. I greet you in peace and love. Often on your world, people ask how they can manifest or create the reality they desire. Or someone says that if people follow a few steps, then they can manifest anything they want. Now, there is some truth to this idea of creating your own reality. However, most likely you have tried to manifest something, and it didn't always work. Most spiritual people know the idea of manifesting things, yet most of them aren't financially independent and also in a blissful relationship and also otherwise living the life of their dreams. Moreover, if there really was a series of manifestation steps that always worked, then that series of steps would have become world famous long ago, and everyone on your world would be living in abundance right now. So, rather than think in terms of, I can manifest whatever I want if I set an intention and do some visualizations, the following is a lot closer to reality. It's not 100% accurate because reality is really complex, but the following is quite accurate. First of all, if Source intervenes or makes a decree, then that happens, no matter what people try to manifest. Now, Source doesn't often do this, and often even when Source does this, the intervention or decree is done in such a way that there's still plenty of room for free will to play out. An example of that is the current Earth Humans Will Be Free decree, which doesn't specify an exact timeline or method of liberation. But still, because Source has decreed this, manifestations to keep Earth humans locked down will ultimately fail. Next up, if Source doesn't intervene, then powerful beings might intervene, such as an archangel or Jesus. This might look like a higher being just appearing to a person or helping them out in some way. Alternatively, suppose a dark magician tries to manifest the death or ruin of a person. Yes, manifesting negative things onto other people is possible. However, suppose that person has accepted Jesus as their Lord or has asked for protection from benevolent beings. Then, it's entirely possible that these powerful benevolent beings will override the negative manifestation by the dark magician. Later in this message, we'll share how you can ask for such protection. If neither Source nor powerful beings intervene, then what manifests in your life is usually what your soul wants. Note that souls are typically more focused on learning and having experiences and being of service and attaining soul growth, and are less focused on pleasure and comfort than the vehicles of people typically are. A person's vehicle is their mind, body, and emotions, which is metaphorically being directed by their immortal reincarnating soul. If neither Source nor powerful beings nor your soul intervene, then what manifests in your life are strong feelings or distortions from your subconscious, if any are there. It's possible to have a calm subconscious. So, if you were raised in a way that made you feel unlovable, then it will be hard to manifest a healthy relationship with a partner who deeply loves you because of what's stored in your subconscious. Except if your soul intervenes. Yes, that is quite unfair and very painful, but it often is how it works. And if neither Source nor powerful beings, nor your soul nor your subconscious intervene, then you can manifest things with your emotions and conscious minds. This can be done through classic manifestation techniques, such as setting the intention, visualizing that you already have that thing in the present, feeling the corresponding emotion, and then taking relevant action. So now do you see why manifestation techniques sometimes seem to work and sometimes don't seem to work? If you use manifestation techniques and neither Source nor powerful beings, nor your soul nor your subconscious intervene, then manifestation techniques can work, sometimes even shockingly well. However, what often happens in practice is that someone tries to manifest a life that they perceive as better than their current life. However, their soul wants them to remain in their current life to learn more lessons or release resistance. Or there are blocks in their subconscious that prevent that desired life from manifesting. And so the manifestation effort fails. For example, this channeler has used manifestation techniques to manifest first a relationship within a few weeks and then a great job within a few weeks. He did this with only a small amount of intention setting and visualization and relevant action. This worked very well because at the time, his subconscious and soul were on board with him manifesting these things. However, that relationship ended, And more recently, the channeler has completely failed to manifest a new relationship. Why? He still has great manifestation skills. It's just that right now his soul wants him to be single until he has released resistance to being single and has learnt certain lessons. And so the channeler isn't able to manifest a relationship right now. This is why we have been describing this manifestation hierarchy in this message. People's conscious minds are only able to manifest things if source, and then powerful beings, and then their soul, and then their subconscious aren't intervening. With this in mind, I would advise against comparing your life to other people and concluding that the person whose life is more pleasant must be the more spiritually accomplished person. After all, this channeler is more spiritually advanced than the average person on Earth. Yet, there are plenty of spiritually unadvanced people out there who are in a happy relationship, while currently this channeler is not. This doesn't prove that this channeler is less spiritually advanced than an average person. After all, this channeler is more spiritually advanced than the average person on Earth. Yet, there are plenty of spiritually unadvanced people out there who are in a happy relationship, while currently this channeler is not. This doesn't prove that this channeler is less spiritually advanced than an average person. All it means is that currently, the channeler's soul wants him to learn certain lessons, and the soul of an average person in a happy relationship currently isn't pushing that person to learn those lessons. Perhaps the average person in a happy relationship still needs to learn these lessons someday that the channeler is currently learning. This is one example of why we would be careful about comparing ourselves with others. Just because another person has a more pleasant life than you do doesn't automatically mean that they're more spiritually advanced than you are, or that they made better choices. Your soul doesn't think in terms of more pleasant life equals better. Instead, it's all just experiences to your soul. Similarly, if you are the one with the more pleasant life, we would also advise you against concluding that you must be more spiritually accomplished than people with less pleasant lives. If you have a great life, we would also caution against telling people that they can easily build or manifest their own dream life. Just because you had a soul that was in alignment with you, achieving a successful and happy life, doesn't mean that everyone's soul is. Also, if you have a great life, that doesn't automatically mean that you've learnt all your lessons. Even a person who is merely at the point where they've learnt most lessons will either ascend or will have had the very clear and unmistakable experience that they could have ascended in this lifetime, but that they consciously chose to stay instead. We have joked to the channeler that once he learnt all his lessons, he should just teleport on board our ships and meet us. Because a person who has learnt all their lessons and has released all their resistance could literally do that. Perhaps some Earth people will actually do that in the future, although most probably we will land before anyone on Earth gets to that level. So, in other words, don't be so quick to think that you've learnt all your lessons. On the other hand, your life circumstances certainly don't entirely depend on what your soul wants. Actively working towards building a better life still matters a great deal, of course. While there are situations where someone's soul wants them to have a certain tough experience to learn certain lessons, often a person's soul isn't intervening one way or the other. And whether the person finds success and happiness simply depends on their own efforts. May the following happen in accordance with the highest divine blueprint. And I am asking wise and benevolent beings, forces and aspects of existence to assist me with this. I am protected for the rest of my life. Thank you. Now. This is effective, but note that mundane, unpleasant things might still happen to you. Higher beings won't necessarily feel the need to intervene to stop those. Also, even substantially bad things might still happen to you if those things can teach you important lessons. Regardless, some bad things will likely be prevented by this, in a behind-the-scenes way that you probably won't even notice. Okay, so we have looked at the level of source, and we have looked at the level of powerful beings. Next up, let's look at the level of your soul. To a large extent, your soul determines what happens in your life. it can quite easily manifest things in your life. It wouldn't be inaccurate to think of your reincarnating immortal soul as the real you, and to think of your body and mind and emotions as the vehicle that your soul is currently having an experience through. Hence, your soul and higher beings aren't nearly as concerned with safety and pleasure and comfort as people's vehicles are. After all, the real you, your immortal soul, is safe regardless. And if you wanted to have a pleasant life, your soul would have chosen to be born on, for example, the Pleiades, rather than being born on Earth. Because your soul is so important, and because it's higher in the manifestation hierarchy than your conscious mind is, it makes sense to talk to your soul, if you are able to do so. I explained how in my previous message, Hakann, how to talk to your soul. Alternatively, even if you can't directly talk to your soul, you might have an intuitive knowing of what it wants. If you can talk to your soul, it's a good idea to align your vehicle, your body, mind, and emotions, to your soul. You're not going to be able to bend your soul to your will, but usually your life will improve if you align your vehicle, body, mind, and emotions to what your soul wants. If your soul wants you to be in a certain unpleasant situation, to learn certain lessons, then the best way to get out of that situation is to just ask your soul which lessons exactly it wants you to learn, and then go learn those lessons. Once you have learned those lessons, it's entirely possible that your life will improve. Next up, the fourth level is your subconscious. For this level, I recommend that whenever pain or so-called negative emotions arise in you, you observe, you feel, and only then decide if you want to go into the thought. This was described in more detail in the previous message. Ashtar, observe, feel, and only then decide if you want to go into the thought. And finally, we reach the fifth level of your vehicle, namely your body and mind and emotions. If none of the other four higher levels are blocking you, then you can use classic manifestation techniques here, and they may work quite well for you. Note that if you align more of these levels towards one purpose, then you will become more powerful as a manifester. If your soul wants you to become, for example, a spiritual teacher, and you clear your subconscious of pain and blocks, and you align your vehicle towards that purpose as well, then likely you will become a decently impactful spiritual teacher. If your soul wants you to work towards some beneficial purpose, and you clear your subconscious of pain and blocks, and you align your vehicle towards that purpose, and you also get powerful benevolent beings on board, whether via praying to Jesus or via Eastern devotion or via Tunia's priestly magic, then you can have a world-changing impact. And if you say that you are in service to Source, and you listen to your soul or to powerful benevolent beings about what exactly you should practically do, and you clear your subconscious of pain and blocks, and you align your vehicle towards that purpose as well, then you can have a galaxy-changing impact. Admittedly, this galaxy-changing impact might be energetic and subtle. You won't necessarily become rich or famous. It might also take years for your path to unfold. Still, eventually you will likely have a great impact indeed. I hope this was helpful. The upcoming times may be chaotic. I would like to remind you that the more things happen, even if they are chaotic events, the closer your liberation will become, and all roads lead to your liberation. The day when we finally meet will be glorious indeed. I love you so very much, and you have my deepest respect for holding on to the light in the midst of such craziness. Your Earth brother, Hakann.